Well, hi again, everyone. Here we are again.
And hello.
At Winchester in the UK, doing our little psychic chat show with you tonight. So if you've not been to the show before, we're going to be talking about a theme to begin with. But obviously, we also like to take your questions, and you can steer the chat pretty much whatever direction you want to ultimately. But we're going to talk a lot tonight about why some of the things have been going wrong in the community, particularly about how the world's kind of needs to reconnect and things like that. We've got a few thoughts, but we'll take your thoughts as well. And we've got a little bit in the middle that we're going to do tonight also, where we've a little video about Beltane, which is the Celtic Festival that was started earlier in the year, this month, the 1st of May. So shall we say a few hellos first,
yes,
shall
certainly.
we, Jane? Yeah.
Denise, hello Craig and Jane. Hi Denise. Leslie, hello Craig and Jane. Looking forward to your show tonight. Good.
Nice to see you guys. And as you come in, have some thoughts about
Rosemary,
questions for tonight.
hi Craig
as well.
and Jane. Hi Rosemary. Linda, good evening Craig and Jane. So, hello from Netherlands. Mariah. You can do this one, Craig.
Hello, Craig and Jane. Love seeing you again. Looking forward for tonight. Thanks again for all you do. Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
All you do.
Well, we sit around and chat to you lot.
Good evening, greetings from Gothenburg, Sweden.
We get a lot of interest from Sweden.
I've been there.
Yes, now Sweden's
Gothenburg.
a place that has problems with community, actually, nowadays. But that might be something we could talk about. Namaste from India. Says Aparajita Banerjee. Good to see you, all from around the world again. Yeah.
Hi, Craig and Jane from Australia. Noon Daniels, that's from.
I knew.
Debbie TT, hello from Northwest, is it Florida?
Northwest Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got the whole world encompassed pretty much. I think we get them from Hawaii too, so we've got the Pacific covered. So it's interesting how we kind of all connect nowadays, don't we? This is what we nowadays think of as a community, isn't it, really?
Well, yes,
You know?
if we had a really big community and all the world got together, I'm sure it would be a much better place.
You see, the thing is, the internet has connected everybody in an unusual sort of way. So around this sort of channel, we got like the beginnings of a community. And I think we want to talk about the fact that, you know, it's got good and bad to it, hasn't it? The ideas of community. I don't know what you feel about communities, Jane, but online communities we worry about sometimes, like people get conned, for example.
It was very helpful in lockdown that it brought people closer together because they couldn't go out. So it was good that they actually made friends and things socially. So that really changed people's life because a lot of people were very reclusive when we had lockdown. Craig.
Yeah, we needed an internet community during that time, really, to hold us all together. But in a lot of ways, I also find that I think where we've all gone online to make our friends nowadays, and people go online to date nowadays a lot as well, and the people get so much interaction online, I think we really still do kind of miss out on face-to-face communications with people.
Yeah, this is why we love Italy, because
we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, well, I'll just do a little finish first. This is why we like Italy, because they have communities there, because we love going to the Chili Festival, don't we, Craig?
Yeah, you kind of jumped ahead, but yeah, that's what we're going to sort of
Do
talk
I look
about.
like a woman that jumps ahead?
I planned it all tonight.
You're definitely a man that jumps ahead.
Yeah, because we got kind of a world at the moment, I think, where we're all disconnected. We're all disconnected because we're all kind of all, like there's guys here coming in now from India, there's people coming in from Sweden, there's people coming in from Florida, all from around the world. And it's great to connect with you all. And we meet you online often through Zoom, and we chat to some of you through the Patron pages and on the
or personal people. Some of the patrons come from a personal reading for me.
A few come privately to us.
Or quite a few, not just a few.
But most of us are spread apart, and I think what we're missing a lot is the actual structure of a society where people meet face to face. I think it's one of the ills that is affecting us in society at the moment, don't you? That there's kind of like it's all disconnect. It's all online. It's all chat online. Because we used to have the chat rooms, didn't we, on the website, and that was really interesting to see how communities not only develop into real close friendships, but also where you start to get sides and you start to get conflicts and you start to get people that are in charge and people that want to rule over each other, you know. So even on a small scale, you start to get rules and regulations and all the rest of it, you know.
Funny enough, today we were talking about people dating online, and I said I'm an old-fashioned girl. I quite like when you meet people naturally, because it seems very strange to me, and I suppose it's the way the 21st century is, that people are meeting one another online.
And they've got nowhere else to meet. This is what I say, where can you go if you're a single person, young single person, you look around the streets at the moment, Friday night, normally you go out on Friday night and there'd be lots of people filling the streets, going places. Same on a Saturday night, everybody goes out, they go to... But there's not many places for people to go. Most people now sit at home and they start chatting each other up online.
They haven't got the money, that's why.
They haven't got the money as well, but at the same time, people can usually find some money to go out. But at the same time, it's also full of all sorts of predators. Like we were talking about some of the readings we've had, weren't we? Where people are sort of saying, what do you think of this guy? And I think, ooh, dodgy, looks dodgy, you know. Because people are pretending to be people. You get people coming on this site now on Facebook, you know, I will lift a curse from you and things like that, and all sorts of nonsense. And I think the communities that we got are very kind of lonely communities. They're like, each person is in their own little shell. You know, they might have headphones on looking into their screen, and they get all these interactions with people. You come away from it and you're back in the silent world of on your own.
That's probably why it was such a good thing going back to the 50s, 60s, 70s. Neighbours talking over the wall. They knew everybody's business, and even the milkman they knew, the butcher, and then you used to have the breadman deliver bread, and then you used to have watch the Corona lemonade, cherryade. Do you remember that, Craig? And the fishmongers. So people got to know people, and you know, they would know that people up the road, or if somebody was ill, and it was a nice era.
In Southampton, they still delivered the milk in our street on a horse. I'm really feeling old. Yeah, but it's true, isn't it? The people knew each other, and we look at the way we're building our communities out there now. I mean, I look at the new estates. It's the same in England, but I know it's the same in places like Ireland. Friends in Ireland have said the same. It's the same in places in Europe. They're building places that are just faceless things that look almost like Eastern European blocks, where all the houses are exactly the same, and one street here in Hampshire would be exactly the same as a street in Scotland, which would be exactly the same as a street in Dublin, which would be exactly the same as a street anywhere in Europe and anywhere in the world. This mass housing squeezed into sort of small areas with no squares, no shops, no places where people can lean over the fence and talk to each other. It's like everybody's in their own boxes, you know, and all working from home. So I think it's one of the big reasons that the society is so divided.
You know, where people are going to live, actually, because we're having more people coming into the country now than ever before, and people have got to live somewhere. So what they're doing is all these builders, all about profit, and taking where we live, the countryside, they're building on it.
Yeah, and anything that's lovely and old and got some character to it, they pull the odd brick out so it falls down. And you start saying, oh, that one will be pulled down soon, you know, because you can rebuild on that.
I find
We've
that
been watching it.
Very sad, because we go past an old farmhouse and it's been there about 200 years old, and then suddenly all the bricks are removed and everything, conveniently.
Strategic places, so it just happens to fall down, so you can build some more faceless buildings. You know, what do you think? Is that what's happening to the world at the moment? Are we losing a sense of community? How many friends do you see regularly, any of you that are watching this, you know? I mean, when you think about it, you don't see friends that often. You might see them online, but it's not the same, is it? It's not really, there's no connection between spontaneous humour. You're having to interpret what people think online. Is that meant to be funny, or are they being funny? You know, and things like that. There's no real connection. There's no eye contact. And I think this is why a lot of the young people get really messed up, don't you think, Jane? Because, I mean, they've been brought up and weaned on that type of artificial environment.
Unfortunately, all the young people are on their iPhones now. We're just as bad. They're all on their iPhones, and, you know, they're not looking, crossing the road. and things. It's like the whole world is addicted to all these iPhones and that. And I like it where you can meet up with somebody and have a cup of coffee and a chat. I've got a girlfriend I went out with yesterday, and it was so nice. You felt freedom, and so nice to be out in the fresh air and meet people.
Yeah, I mean, Denise is saying exactly. Kids don't play outside anymore. Yeah, come in when the sun goes down, or come in when the lights go on.
You've got it.
The street lights go on.
What they used to say, come in and when you finish playing, when the street lights go on, and you'd be able to play out in the over in the fields and outside and everything. You made your own entertainment.
You'll come in when you feel cold. But it's true that we don't have any of that. No spontaneity with kids, and you know, kids are all in a cocoon. You're not allowed to climb trees or jump in mud or throw stones at cars.
Or make mud pies.
You know, and it's the same as like with the neighbours, like you say. Everyone watched out for everyone else.
They did.
So I can remember all that. I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, my nan and that, they'd have one eye on you while they're doing the washing, and you were getting up to whatever, you know, and it was fantastic.
Well,
time.
I can remember my grandmother, they all helped out each other, the neighbours. If someone was having a baby, all the neighbours would be there helping, making cups of tea and looking after the children, doing any washing. It was a different lifestyle. It was
and all the kids
nice.
now are so cocooned, they're all kept indoors, because they're not getting exposure to dirt, for example, they're much more vulnerable to things like asthma, for example. They reckon that's where they've been brought up in too clean an environment sometimes, or more prone to you know, disease, illnesses generally, because our bodies aren't getting any resistance, because we all live in this little cocoon again, don't we? We all live in a cocoon. You were saying about Italy, Jane, wasn't it? When we went there,
am I allowed to talk now?
Yeah. I mean, that was such a lovely energy to that.
Well, we've got a property in Italy, and it's so lovely. You don't need to put the television on. Craig loves hiking with the grandchildren and things, and it's, you know, we can look at the mountains, and we've got an olive grove, and it's so nice, and you can listen and hear the birds sing. It's like a different world. And they have a chili festival which is on for 2 days, and the whole of Italy all meet up. It's only a small, very small medieval village, and it's lovely. Everybody's happy. They're all drinking, getting drunk at 4 o'clock.
Well, it's
in the
all the
morning.
little villages come together. So they've all produced chili producers in Abruzzo area. And all the little villages have their own different types of chili, just like they have their own specialist wines. So they all get into a competition with each other, and they're all bringing their chili dishes, and they're all doing their local songs.
La Muna!
And competing with one another. And it's such an energy to it. And
Wonderful.
I looked at all that and I said that we don't have
That's right.
anything like that left in the UK. We have little bits of smatterings of it, but not really where people get together and you're kind of, your village is competing with that village and the rest of it.
Well, and also in Italy they have different festivals, like the Chestnut Festival, the Bell Festival, the Tractor Festival, and they even have a festival where they worship snakes over
You have a
saint.
snake festival
Yeah,
too.
and
where
you
they-
you actually have the priests when they have this, say like St Anthony, and they've got all snakes there, and they run towards the church. How exciting is that?
And
Craig?
then on top of that, they got all the religion, because then they go taking the Madonna and dropping it in the lake and all those sort of things they do. You know, so you've got all this extra things that are binding people together, where people are kind of meeting each other, and there's a sort of an energy that you just cannot find.
And it's lovely because they all go, there's 2 churches where we live, and they all meet up to go to church, and it's nice, isn't it?
And how do you find it in your area? I mean, Ireland, you know, I don't know if we've got any people from Ireland coming on here. And you used to have all that. Our friends used to talk about all the things that used to go around Skerries and places like that, and the fest, and it's all getting kind of watered down now, and it's all become sort of like hot dog stands and beer tents, but not really the sort of energy that I think comes from a general kind of rural community.
I mean, the village
in some
we're
ways.
in, there used to be a convent, and they used to put on bric-a-brac stuff, and they used to have really old-fashioned like fetes, and that was lovely.
Yeah,
really
the
nice.
way we build, isn't it, too, like Debbie's saying. People in America say it's changed as they stop putting front porches on houses. So simple, but yeah, I can understand that. And no longer make sidewalks, you know.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
And some of the houses we got here, they're building, like you say about the sidewalk like the pavement. I mean, the houses are built right up to the road. So all you can do is go from your house into your car and off again. There's no footfall. There's no meet your neighbour.
We do have potholes.
Yeah, we've got plenty of that. We've got decline. And the thing is, it's happening everywhere, all around the world. But other countries, I've seen it, like India, there's still that wonderful feeling of community. India's a country that holds very much together because, again, of its all its festivals, its religious festivals, and this really does bring people together. Holi, where they all throw the colour paints at each other, or Shivarati, where everybody comes and the rest. All these fabulous times. But I think in the West, we kind of feel we're all becoming very isolated people, aren't we? We're all becoming very inward thinking, and people are scared to communicate. They don't know how. That's where all this wokey stuff comes from. That's where all this gender mix-ups come from.
Right. Devon is still a bit like that. The South Hams, anyway, local shows and nice shows and that. All right, my lovelies.
Yeah.
You like your pasties, do you?
Yeah, I think that's a bit more Cornwall, because Devon and Cornwall have different views, but it is a bit like that, my lovely. Yeah. There we go, agility bits from Cornwall. We've got a Devon and Cornwall here. These two could be at war. We have a centre for the Cornish culture in our village, and we all get together there. All the dog walkers meet each other in the morning. Dogs are great for getting to know and meet other people.
That's true, actually.
Very
true.
Yeah, that's
very
true.
I mean, I had 3 dogs when I first met you, didn't I?
Yeah.
And he's not a dog lover neither.
I had a friend he didn't have a girlfriend, so he decided to get a dog, and he went and took the dog out because it mean he met other women, he met women all the time, because the dogs connect. Oh, what's your dog, Yeah, so there are things that do connect people, but I think a lot of the ills, particularly with a lot of the younger people, is where there's no actual communication. Everything's in screens, and it creates terrible issues, I think. Well, also in the Southampton, people say hello when you walk past. Yeah, that's something good. You almost feel like you're going to mug someone if you say hello to them nowadays, don't you?
Yeah, people don't. I think even if you went out and you smiled at someone, it makes them feel good, doesn't it?
Yeah, and dog walking. So I suppose there's quite a lot in dog walking. I suppose it can help people get out.
It beats parrot walking, Craig.
Yeah. But a lot of people don't get out at all. That's the problem.
That's sad,
and I worry, because when we were sort of in the kids and things, and we were just getting out in the world, you go down to the town centre and it'd be all your friends there, because everybody went to the same place. Nobody was at home online. You just bumped into everybody. You knew if you went down to the centre of Southampton, you'd always bump into your friends and say, what's on? Oh, what are we doing? We're going to do this. Oh, let's all do it. And you end up doing something. Now you have to arrange it. You have to send a text even before you phone someone.
Parents used to give you 6pence to go to pictures and things.
Yeah.
And you used to go swimming and things. Yeah, God, 6pence. Do you remember?
Me feel bloody old I am.
You are old.
I'm really old. Western culture's heading towards a cliff, and it's a death road. I think some of the areas hold still together. There are still communities around things like religion, I suppose. But then that's always got these rules and regulations, and it's not kind of natural in a way, in my opinion. But we do need something, and I think spirituality is a good way to hold people together. Having common spiritual goals is quite nice. You're always going to get good and bad in a community, though, aren't you? Because you'll always get the one or two that are troublemakers, just like you do on your wherever you live. There's always someone that causes problems. There's good and bad with community. I mean, we went out to this beginning of this month. We're in May now, so. This is the beginning of spring, the 1st of May. So we went to see Beltane, didn't we, Jane? It was quite fun.
Really good.
So that was a kind of reflective. The Beltane, I don't know much about it really.
The Wicker Man.
But it was like the times for the celebration of springtime. So it was an old Celtic kind of festival time. And we got an area here on the South Downs there, which are beautiful, where they decided to have a Celtic sort of festival called Beltane. So we took the kids out there, and we thought, well, I know that you guys quite like the little intermissions we do sometimes with our out and about. So we thought we'd show you this little clip of burning the Wicker Man at the Festival of Beltane. Thinking in terms of, this is again something about community, how good a community can be. And actually this, when you dress up, and we're going to go to a Viking one soon,
Yes, and I'm
Jane
going to be
I.
Lagatha.
And I'm going to be, what's his name?
I'm going to be the Viking maiden.
Yeah, and I'm going to be that seer with no eyes.
I've actually got a shield that's made and all the stuff. So I'm just looking out for a white horse now.
Yeah, and I'll do the seer. Oh, I say terrible things. I see terrible things. You know, you've seen it on the Vikings. It's brilliant. If you haven't watched the Viking series, you want to watch it. But anyway, this is the that's on Amazon Prime, I think. This is a little clip from Beltane. So I thought we'd put it up for you, see if you enjoy it. And then we lost my connection. There we go. Yeah, so here we go. It should come on screen any moment now. Come on. So here we all are, me and Jane, and our wicker children and grandchildren, coming for the Festival of Beltane.
Bringing in the summer.
May normally is done, and we're going to be witnessing the burning of the Wicker Man. So what you do is you make a wish, put it on a piece of paper like that, tie it onto the Wicker Man, and then when it burns up tonight, hopefully your wish will come true. So who's going to be the children that get inside it when they set it on fire?
You will. Not me.
No, don't you want to be one of the children when they set it on fire? I saw the movie. I'm only
Me and
joking.
Willow want to quickly do this archery whilst the queue's not big.
Is this official archery gear then, is it, Willow? Is this what you would normally use in archery?
Of course. Give it a go. Oh, I've got a hidden skill here, Dad.
Yes. Once more onto the breach, dear friends.
There you go. What did you think of that?
I thought it was good fun.
Yeah, you've got a bit of a
Let's get
hidden
Mum on it now,
talent
shall
there.
we? Jane would be brilliant at this. Some axe throwing would be good. Axe throwing? Shield maidens? No?
Happy Beltane!
We're coming that way!
Make way! Funny, I nearly dropped the camera then. God, he jumped at me.
Premium parking gate. You have heard this.
Going to buy one then? You're going to buy one? They got plant dyeing in the Anglo-Saxon period. That'd be interesting. You ready for the Wicker Man, are you? Yeah, I'm just going to burn it. Are you excited? No. No? I'm not excited. I'm not bothered about a burning Wicker Man. But they're going to put children in it, aren't they?
No!
Yeah, do you want to be volunteer?
No!
Do you want to go in it?
Do you want me to be burned?
Yeah.
No!
That's it. That's Beltane on the 1st of May 2024. This is a typical thing we do here in the UK. Burn wicker men.
Well, there you go.
And no children were harmed, Craig, through
No,
this process.
it's a shame. I was looking forward to burning of the children. But I mean, I think great those, really great things, I think, the ancient old festivals like that. And when people get into the spirit of it, it's great. See, it is a kind of a bit of a spirit coming together, isn't it? I mean, they had to kind of make that happen, but I thought it was great.
It was good. We're looking to the Viking festival. Yeah,
I think we need things like this, don't we? I mean, the old Celtic things particularly were incredible. Yeah, amazing energy. There was a real, you get into the spirit of it, and those little clips I took of people just walking around. Absolutely loved it. It was something I think everybody needs to get away from screens.
So all your energies all
smelling the burning fires and
so all the energy and people having fun.
It was a fantastic sort of event. I don't know if they hold them in America or other places around the world as well, but I think it's something we're going to definitely do as often as we can. It's a job to get the tickets, of course, now. Yeah, it was a Wicker Man festival.
It was
really
I think
good. And it appeals to the unconscious mind. You got you got one in Nevada. Okay, right, yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, so it's something that appeals. I think particularly fire, doesn't it? Fire appeals to the unconscious mind and gets you thinking about ancient days. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you liked
thank
the
you,
video.
Steve.
I'm never quite sure whether to put a video up in between because I always worry, is it a bit home movie-ish? But I think you quite like to see the background of what we do.
And the next
Those
one
are
would
fun.
be the watercress.
Watercress line we'll do, yeah. We've got old steam
Sunday.
trains we're going to do as well, so which will be quite fun. I think it's quite interesting if you're looking in from America and that as well. You don't see these things. Well,
Christopher Lee was a fabulous singer.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the good one. I loved Christopher Lee actually. He was a great
And Peter Cushing, I like.
Peter Cushing as well. Yeah, brilliant
Actors.
actors in their time. Well, they were B movie actors, but they were good. Yeah, and that was held down in on the
Downs.
South Downs at Butser Farm. There's an old Butser
Ancient farm.
They made a sort of a village there, so that's why it was all within the
Medieval,
village.
isn't
Yeah, and so it restores the idea of what people used to live like in those days. And they talked about community a lot. I noticed they were saying about actually the communities at that time. Someone was lecturing there, just to talk with, saying that the women actually had more dominance in the society than they do today. Everybody thought the women at that time were sort of subservient, but they were often the leaders. They were often the heads of the village, and they were a bit like the Viking times too.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of have a sort of blinkered view of what we think history
you're talking
was
to
like.
a Shield maiden.
Yeah,
from a
so
past
we're
life
going to
here.
dress up and do all the Viking one next. So if anybody wants to join us, I think that's all booked up though, isn't it? That one.
What's that?
Down at the Viking one. Where's that? Where going to be?
It's at
Basingstoke
It's at
way,
Basingstoke, and
Yeah.
I think it's on July the 29th. And if you do come along,
Now
you
the
do
balloon festivals.
and you
they
do,
were
excuse me,
brilliant
Craig,
too.
and then you do come along, and you can actually meet us if you come along.
Yeah,
there.
come on, we might bump into us. Be fun, wouldn't it? And Basingstoke, that is. I've had get pretty busy there, and then they burn the Viking boats, which I love the fire themes.
That's a shame they stopped that balloon festival because that was
We
so
had
good.
one, yeah.
And you could see it actually, and they all waving to us from over our house.
But they don't have a lot of these country fairs and things like that are now being stopped. Actually, they've become very commercialised. When you start going along and there's the stands sort of selling electric cars or other things, and it loses a bit of its rural feel. And I think that's why so many people sort of also responded to the Amazon Prime program with Clarkson's Farm. There you were back in the countryside again, trying to scratch a living. I think we miss a lot in our city life, don't we? Is this part of where our communities go wrong now? So let's have some of your questions now, guys, too, as well. We can take the conversation any way you want to take it. Any thoughts you might have or questions you might have and things like that, or just comments. We have lots of traditions in Cornwall, me lovelies. There are events as well as old traditions. I don't think they're dying out. Well, yeah, perhaps Cornwall's pretty good actually, Pat, isn't it? I mean, we went down there. We went round.
The little pixies live down there.
Yeah, I like the wicker stuff down. We found the
Witches.
Museum of
Witches.
the Museum of Witchcraft down there, which has some pretty. I might have a clip of that. I might put that up actually. That was pretty odd, wasn't it? That was a weird place. That was the Museum of Witchcraft.
Bring back our country values. Dance of the Maypole. Yeah, that would be lovely. Wouldn't that be lovely? Yeah, because they used to do that even in the village down at Fair Oak Craig. They used to dance around the Maypole and everything, and everybody all crowded in.
It's still there, not as much as it used to be.
Well, I've not seen it. It's faded out.
But I mean, it used to be a thing where people would do it quite locally. But I think we need more community. I think India's got it right. They have a festival every other day there for something or other.
Debbie says, we used to have May Day when I was little, but no more. They used to. All the children dress up in the ribbons. It was quite lovely.
Firework night's also gone too. I used to think the idea of burning the Guy Fawkes, burning the first terrorist, or they used to burn effigies of the Pope as well at the same time.
No.
But those old traditions have got
No,
lost.
I can remember as a child, Guy Fawkes, the children had an old-fashioned pram with wheels, like a go-kart, penny for the guy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, on an old pram, made literally a straw man, wouldn't it? But I think we need all this, don't we?
Yeah.
We do need it. We need to connections with people.
Yeah, and I think Mystic's right. The UK needs to reconnect back to its ancient culture. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, rather than actually...
And have all good values with it.
Yeah, rather than seem to want to conform to other cultures all the time. I mean, there's some good cultural stuff, multicultural stuff that comes up. But I think our traditional cultures of each nation is necessary too.
St George's Day, St George and the Dragon.
Yeah, we
seem
don't
to
have
celebrate
we should
that.
definitely, don't you think? What do you think? Should we have a St George's Day? Not as a nationalistic sort of National Front sort of day, but a St George's Day where we celebrate being English. You know, they celebrate being Scottish, they celebrate being St Patrick
Irish,
in Ireland, and they celebrate
Wales,
in Wales and Andrew.
Leek.
Andrew,
Daffodils.
yeah, but we need more of that, not as a patriotic type of thing, but as an actual
coming
together of people. And we should celebrate our history. We should celebrate our culture. We should celebrate the differences that each nation has, because I think these are things that the making of a kind of a consciousness that guides each nation. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. You're both making me feel really nostalgic and a bit sad. I miss 20th century England. Yeah, I do. I think Craig's still in the 17th century.
Yeah, I would be. I'd go way, way back. I love the thoughts of ancient times.
He loves
always,
Rome,
you know.
Craig.
I believe I was in Rome years ago.
He loves
too,
Rome.
Yeah. Yeah, Rome. I go into almost a trance there because
Yeah, it's nice.
It's just you can feel the energy of the places.
Steve, festivals have all changed now. Even in Liverpool, public all herded into regular areas.
Regulated, yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
Change bring back. Yeah, it's true, Steve, and that it is. And
Whitby, Yorkshire was also fab, but
do you
now
remember,
changed.
you know, if you went to pop festivals or you went to all these music festivals like Shepton Mallet, and that they used to be big. They used to have like Jimi Hendrix, didn't they? Jefferson's Aeroplane.
The
and
festivals.
all really big names.
We had
Rolling
a lot of connections
Stones.
in our family with
And then
Whitby.
people used to hitchhike there and climb over the barriers.
Yeah,
it used to be
I mean the
exciting
festivals
times.
were great, weren't they?
The 70s.
The festivals were small, so you broke into the festivals.
You didn't have any money.
Or you broke into the Guildhall to go and see Yes or Genesis.
No, I'm
or
talking
The Who.
about the big music festivals.
Yeah, but now it's all become huge events, like at the O2.
U2, yeah.
And it's like I just feel like one robot amongst many. I just feel like I'm in some machine that's churning out, and it's all retrospective. It's not new stuff. I mean, we saw Roger Waters and people before, and it's fabulous, but it doesn't have the energy of when you first went to see Pink Floyd, for example, and you had a front row seat watching them on the stage. I mean...
When did we see it? It was going January, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a little while back, yeah. Yeah, and bonfire night as well, you see. Now that was...
I can remember bonfire
night. The smell
night.
in the air when the fireworks
I can remember
went
that,
off.
and you used to put jacket potatoes on the bonfire. I don't know if you did, but we did. And you used to have like sausages and things
But
like
as a
that.
kid, I remember the smell in the air, because
They're
everybody
nice.
let their fireworks, and were only allowed to let their
Catherine
fireworks
wheels.
on the 5th
You remember Catherine wheels?
November. Yeah. And it would the atmosphere would smell, and you feel the energy,
Electrifying.
and you start seeing all the fireworks go up. You know, and it was for then it was kind of unusual. Now fireworks go up every 5 minutes at every event you can possibly think
It's true.
of, and it kind of
Spoils it.
degrades it really, because the fun of it's gone. You know, and you know they got rid of all the best ones like jumping jacks, which were too dangerous.
Yeah, the smell of the bonfire was nice. It's like smelling burning coal from the chimneys. There's something about
Funny,
it.
it's fire again, isn't it? Don't you
Yeah,
think fire is
yeah.
a thing that brings communities together in a funny sort of way? Nighttime fires. It must appeal to those times we used to sit around the.
We're going back in the
fires.
caveman times,
Yeah.
isn't it? Fires,
Yeah.
man discovering fire.
And all around the country, it was always very different. You know, all
Penny for
different
the
type-
guy.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're all getting very nostalgic tonight.
It's nice though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
penny
getting
for the
very
guy. Do you
nostalgic.
remember that? Penny for the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And you used to pinch your mother's stockings or tights then and stuff the face up to make the guy forks. Do you remember?
Yeah, now that's interesting. Coming from a Hindu background, I was connected spiritually to Britain's ancient pagan culture. Yeah, I think these type of things, in a way, they cross cultures, don't they? Because when you think about, like I was saying about fire, look at what happens in India with the Havan and things like that, and the burning. There's something very special and very spiritual and very energizing about the fire. Something very special. In ancient societies, the blacksmith was always considered a holy man in a way, because he worked with the magical thing of fire to create steel out of fire. It was like a magical act.
It's quite a spiritual thing also to walk over burning coals, isn't it?
I got a feeling we can do that at the Viking Festival.
Well,
that might be one
right,
worth
you're
trying.
on then. Just don't wear any socks with holes in, Craig.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of moving over quickly. And yeah, the 19th. We're going to get very reminiscent. Oh, you're
Mini
all coming
Cooper,
on. You must be in
yeah, I
our
remember.
age
And you
group,
could get
some
the
of you
Mini
guys.
Cooper S as well.
Yeah, and beach buggies. 1967 were the best days. They certainly were.
And you definitely had good bands there, didn't you? Live bands, weren't they?
Well,
Very
there was definitely a renaissance
Woodstock.
to those times, and there was definitely a real sense of coming together again, coming to this community idea. I mean, you think about it, things like the festival, Stonehenge Festival, illegal festival, I remember. So, and you'd have people like Hawkwind and Gong and all sorts
Who's
of.
Gong?
Gong was a good band.
I've
They
never
just
heard
went
of Gong.
on and on and on.
I've heard of Gonks when they made Gonks, but not Gong.
And I think even Jefferson Airplane went there once and things. But
Actually, I hitchhiked and I was given a lift by them in the car.
no, Fairport Convention you were given a lift by.
No,
it was.
no.
Yeah, but anyway,
I know what I do, Craig, before I met you.
I know when you just. Anyway, I know you did because you got it wrong. You did.
How do you know
It
I
was
got it wrong?
Fairport
You weren't
Convention.
there.
I know,
How
I
can
know.
you possibly say that to me when you weren't there?
Because they did. Because Jefferson Airplane didn't go to that concert. But anyway, they were fantastic times because we all kind of got together and it was kind of more natural, wasn't it? It wasn't all this big fences round everything, you know. 90s were peak civilization. Well, I don't know. I think it started to fall away from the 80s. I think because the music died out, didn't it?
Well, it's New Romantics coming
Yeah,
in, wasn't
it all became
80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Boy George.
Yeah, but I think there was a certain energy that came. I mean, going to the 70s. My God, the things that we did then.
Do you remember watching Top of the Pops?
Yeah, with our wonderful Jimmy Savile.
No, not just Jimmy Savile. It was quite good, Top of the Pops then, wasn't it? It was all exciting times.
Yeah. Tony Blackburn. I gave a reading to Tony Blackburn on a programme, didn't I, on telly once, on Mystic Challenge.
Right.
He used to drive me scatty. God, he was like a machine talking.
That's good. They still celebrate a big bonfire night in Northern Ireland.
Oh, do they?
That's good.
What do you do for that one then? I would wonder what they would do in Northern Ireland. Usually has some political element to it, you know. Yeah, but I think those things are great. I think there's something about that, and I think we need more of it, really. And I would like to see more people coming into it, really. And why couldn't we be actually deliberately making sure things like this happen?
Well, traditions,
You know,
isn't it? And all being as one in happy times, that's what we need.
Yeah, we should all become hippies like Craig was. Yeah, I still am at heart. Yeah, I never not conform.
He thinks he's
never conform.
He thinks
Don't
he's
trust
a
anyone over
recycled
30.
hippie.
Yeah.
So you haven't got no hair now.
Yeah, don't trust anyone over 30. Yeah, which I still think that should hold true, actually.
Yeah, does that make a good combination? A disco diva and a hippie?
Yeah, because Shane was on a completely different track, you know. But that's the thing about the 70s. You had all Tamil and Motown going on, you had reggae going on, you had psychedelic music going on, you had the first electronic music going on, you had hard rock going on, you had
good, wasn't it?
Folk music, everything,
and you didn't have a lot of money, but you still had good entertainment, didn't we?
And it was exploding. It was exploding, you know. And it was Cool Britannia. I mean, look at Rishi Sunak and all that. Could we call it Cool Britannia anymore, or any of them? Yeah, it's boring Britannia. It's pothole Britannia, isn't it? You know, and I think things in the 70s. Nobody had any real money then. I mean, it's because the youth. There was a baby boom, I suppose, that caused all that, and the escape from the horrors of the Second World War But perhaps all these dull times we got at the moment, you know, because I mean, everybody's in a very depressed sort of world, I think, apart from little smatterings of things. But the general energy is everybody's terrified of what's going to happen with Russias and things like that, and all the things that are going on. And it's often when you get these heavy periods, man, you get a break from it, and the opposite can happen. And it could happen. We could get a sudden rebel against that, and something might catch the attention. But how do you ever get a music revolution again? I mean, with Spotify, all everybody listens to is the past.
A friend of ours has got a good idea. Healing is coming, linked up with music.
Yeah, I think music does heal, and it's an energy, and music can drive a society in better directions.
Yeah.
You know, but the music we got now is all the past. It's all old.
There was definitely a different energy in the 70s and 80s, a new energy that's filled with life and creation. That's absolutely spot on. All flower power. Do you remember all that?
Yeah,
You're going
absolutely.
to San Francisco.
Yeah. And it wasn't all false like you get now, where you get you know, X Factor and all the rest of it, where it's driven by economics. I mean, the big record companies tried to jump on it, but it was spontaneous.
There's one you'd love to answer.
Yeah, magic mushrooms. I mean, I dare not talk about it on a channel like this because it could get people banned if anybody was likely to have taken those things. But yeah, those things were also fueling it, though. It was taking people into
a different reality state,
but also a true reality state, perhaps.
Or experimental,
you know.
I suppose.
But all those things were happening, and the pill as well, because it gave women liberation from the old ways of dating and all the rest of it, you know. I mean, so much was happening all at once, and it was very optimistic, you know, we're going to change the world, man, it was all we need is love, etc. And then it fizzled out, sadly.
All we need is love. I'm still waiting for my
But you know what it was like? It was like an energy
good
that
times.
was a good, energetic, loving energy.
Music's good for the soul.
And it died out. And it makes you think, could it come back again? It did good. It spread into other things. But a lot of people, as they said, copped out, didn't they? They went into business and all the rest of it and became breadheads, man, and so on. Those words, that's a long time since I used them. And people started to sort of fall away from it. But I think we need it again. But we need something that can be sustained, something that brings everybody together, you know. And that's why I think like that little Beltane and things like that can be very, very good, particularly with the music. It was the music, again, that was driving that, I thought, in many ways.
Frank's right. Young people have so much choice. Music is not important as it was to my generation. I think we all lived for music, didn't we?
Well, you associated yourself with the music you listened to.
That's right.
Didn't you? So, you know, everybody associated with the Beatles because that was for everybody, including the mums and dads. But then there was certain music that you would listen to that nobody else listened to. I like the hippie music, Ultimate Spinach and Elmer Gantry's Velvet Opera and all the weird stuff.
What, infected
Granny
mushrooms?
Takes a Trick. You know, all those type of weird sort of things where you would be like in...
I like music that you dance to.
There we go.
It's got soul,
yeah.
And it's got meaning, and you just forget yourself when you are dancing. It's just like bringing your energy up and enjoying it, and the world's a better place.
So you weren't into Hap Hash and the Coloured Coat
No, I
Bridge
was
and the
not.
Human and heavy
I was a
metal
happy
kids.
girl anyway, so I didn't need that. I didn't need that.
Yeah. So, but it does. But each person was finding their way. It was like an energy, and the kids have not got it. You know, what have they got to offer?
Now, yeah, Nana's right.
Eurovision
And now they
Song
have
Contest?
silent discos where they all listen to their own music with earphones on. Sounds daft to this old foggy. Oh, you're not old. Well, they do, don't they? It's sort of they're in their own zone, in their own
It's all
world.
about everybody gets their personal taste fed individually to them, so there's no community bond with it.
Yeah, that's right, Craig.
In fact, actually, this has been quite an interesting chat tonight, really, because I didn't think about the fact that it's music that holds so much of it together, doesn't it?
Yeah, music does have this deep spiritual vibe. Well, it's like when we go and see Sharavana Baba and they play the lovely Indian music, and they're playing all the mantras, and and you've got the night lights, and they're suddenly moving around. You're really, for that split moment, you're really there, aren't you, Craig? It's beautiful.
Even, I mean, Indian community again. I mean, the bhajans, where someone chants it and then you chant it back. They chant it and you chant it back. So it's easy. Anybody can join in with it. Although if you can't speak Hindi or any of it, you kind of end up saying strange things like, "Can I borrow your wheelbarrow?" or something, because it sounds like that. But it builds an energy, and they'll chant all night long. And by the time the dawn's coming up, you're exhausted. But there's a certain energetic release that comes from that, and I think that's something again we yearn from, don't we?
So it shakes up your chakras, does it, Craig?
Yeah, so they're with you on the music. See, I don't expect anybody's with me on my music taste.
I'm with you on the music.
I was John Peel stuff.
Craig, when I first met him, he was listening to strange music, like sounded like bottles all being filled up with water, blob, 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 blob.
That was electronic music.
Was it? I thought, what's wrong with this guy?
Klaus Schultz, yeah.
Crazy stuff he used to listen to.
And also it is dumbed down, and it doesn't also, I think music also appeals to something in the brain patterns. They say there's certain frequencies that will stimulate the brain and make it develop alpha waves and things like, which make you feel happy. And but what we're getting now, what's the name of the one we did, that Swifties and all that?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, isn't it? I could never remember first name again. But
Shake It Off.
All that to me seems like we're watching somebody do something, right?
Yeah,
it's not true. Like we're part of it.
Or joining in.
There's an element tries
That's why
to do that.
When they had Town and Motown music, it was good because everybody loved it and joined in. I mean, in those days you had a choice to go to Top Rank, the Metro, the Pier, and go to festivals, and it was exciting because it gave you something to look forward to. So really your weekend started on Thursday, Friday and Saturday.
And folk music too. Incredible String Band was at that time, and Fairport Convention, and all those bands, and Renaissance Dance Band. All of them were coming out at a similar time too. So it was happening in all directions. But what have we got now? I mean, you can listen to all that, but it's kind of retrospective, isn't it? You might as well be listening to Bob Hope. Because there's no real, and it's good music, Bob Hope, actually, but there's no real sort of binding force with it,
When the old folk had a 60s rock concert in the village, the youngsters said it was too loud. I'd have turned it up even more.
Yeah, so we want over 70s go-go bands with Frank Zappa.
Yeah, in my children's home, Top of the Pops night was something special. We all bundled in front of it. It's the TV. It was exciting. It was exciting because, you saw like pants, people dancing. You thought, oh, aren't they daring in hot pants? Must get a pair of hot pants and high boots to be daring.
I didn't have hot pants.
No, I won't make a comment. Keep it to yourself. I nearly said something and zip. But it was quite good.
For the next release, weren't you? There was a new, and they build it up. What's going to be number one? And then some new band had come out, and they'd be completely new to you, and you'd never heard of them before. But later they became huge.
And I mean, when David Bowie came out, wow. And I mean, everybody loved Elvis, didn't they, and things. But David Bowie and Stylistics, Four Tops, 3 Degrees. It was really exciting times.
Oh, very highbrow.
Don't spoil it for us.
Brahms, Mahler as well, as I see.
No, we do listen to classical music as well. We like as well.
Classical music is beautiful as well.
It is.
But it must have bound people in its time too.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we went to Vienna and it was a bit commercially what we saw there, Strauss and all the rest of it. But there is still a union of people.
Excitement,
there's a connection with people.
They had a beautiful ballerina dancing around. It was magical, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit aimed for the tourists, but I'd love to go and explore much more. I find Mahler a bit hard going. Shove off Shostakovich, I say too. But I mean, there's lots of really that can be a wonderful binding force too. And music outlives generations, doesn't it?
And also, we used to go and listen to concert sitar music too.
Yes, that's
Ravi
also
Shankar.
another. See, this I remember when I was in India, we actually had a sitar teacher come to us and told us all about how the music works with the sitar, and the whole musical structure that they use on the sitar is completely and
that's
totally
nice.
different to what we use in the West, and it's tied in with the idea of the chakras, that each sound resonates with a different chakra. So when you're doing the sitar music, what it's doing is you're changing your spirit body, a completely different way of looking at music. And George Harrison, when he looked at all that with Within You, Without You, and all those sort of tracks that he brought out, really again
My
another
Sweet
revolution
Lord,
within a
Sweet
revolution,
Lord,
wasn't it?
I like this. My grandparents, who were both born and raised in Ireland, always had a piano. I just found out that he bought it not to play himself, but to make sure friends come over to play and have fun. I can remember my grandmother, because she used to play a violin, played the piano, and everybody used to come along and do a sing-song.
Yeah.
And they used to do it in the pubs, didn't they?
Yeah, my nan had a piano too. She actually had a mini grand, little small grand piano, as opposed to the upright ones.
Yeah,
but people used to
everybody
sing.
sing-song, wasn't it, in the
Yeah.
old-fashioned songs and that. See, there again, that was a community coming
So I don't
together.
know whether in that case it's the music that holds people together or it's the booze.
Well, it definitely is the music. How can booze hold people together?
Well, they all have
They would be missing them and enjoying themselves, wouldn't they?
get drunk and have a sing song. But I think again, when you think about it, we're talking about things in the past so much here, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's good
because
times.
where is it now, and how can we ever get music back where it should be? I mean, there's nowhere for people to play, for starters. There's a few clubs around, and huge events. Love Bowie. He shares his birthday with Elvis, did
Yeah.
he? That's interesting.
Well, Elvis will always be Elvis. There's never going to be another Elvis. And David Bowie was ahead of his time.
Yeah,
Very clever.
a genius, wasn't he? We met quite a few musicians, didn't we, in our time? And a lot of them have been very interested in
Spiritual
paranormal
things.
and spiritual
Yeah.
things. And even Liberace. I mean, he used to believe that
St. Anthony.
St. Anthony was around, but he also was inspired by
And he loved sparkly things, because most
spirit
psychic
world.
people like sparkly things.
Yeah.
And that. And he was Polish descent, and his mother, he adored his mother and everything. And I liked his humour. I think another thing, humour makes you feel happy if you've got good
He believed
humour.
he was guided by the spirit of a great musician. I think it was Brahms. I think he believed guided him. Was it Brahms? He believed that a spirit of a great.
We actually went to Liberace's home in Las Vegas. Do you remember? And he turned it into a museum.
Yeah.
And he had a Rolls Royce all covered in diamonds, and he actually had a piano, and that. And because that's all. Now they've demolished it now.
And then they had Rachmaninoff and all that. But I
Yeah.
remember. Do you remember that one? The Nice used to do things where they used to put the knives in the actual keyboard, didn't they?
Well,
Then they played the Nice.
I
the
certainly don't know
sabre
where you
dance,
went with that.
Yeah, nice.
I
the
can't
Nice.
remember
Yeah, Nice. They used to
mice
he used to put knives in the
Never heard of
organ
that.
as he played it. My dad was absolutely horrified by it. How dare they treat a musical instrument like that? And when the Who smashed up their equipment, my God, that was a terrible thing. Or Jimi Hendrix set his guitar on fire and played the guitar with his teeth as it burned. You know?
Yeah, but it's exciting to see, wasn't it?
If we could bring back spiritualism, dancing, and music, and not involve big business, yeah. Well, big business kind of spoils it, and it was spoiling it in the 70s because they were saying then that it's really ruining the creativity. Freddie Mercury had the big fallouts, and all of them had big fallouts with their record producers, didn't they?
Well,
Even
they
the
were
Beatles.
really milking it, weren't they? The producers. And you take like Elvis Presley, Colonel Parker. He really, really worked that boy to death, didn't he? Literally.
So I think if we ever had another spiritual revolution, which I say we will one day, as we talk about the idea of a spiritual coming of a new age and things like that.
Well,
music is going to be a big part of it.
Bob Geldof done like a spiritual thing, didn't he, for Live Aid, and got it all together, and it made such a difference, didn't it?
And that was pretty good what he did, really,
He
when you
is.
think about it, because
So Bob,
he did that was despite big business, despite
no,
record
he done it
companies.
because he cared about
Yeah.
the people.
He did it because he was genuinely
He's a
moved by it.
Libra, by the way.
Yeah. So so we've gone way off topic, but that's fine.
Yeah, but
because
it's
I think
still
it's fun.
but it's still communities coming together through music, and music's a form of expression, like the singing bowls and things what they do.
Well, mantra is the ultimate music
Yeah.
because mantra actually is based on the sounds of the inner body. So the whole idea that we can internalize sound as well, we can take within ourselves, and actually the mantras that they say, particularly the bija mantras, are based upon the sounds of the spirit body. So that's why I think in a way music can be so transformative and so binding, because we're all resonating already. We're all resonating
Who sang
on a
that
certain
Spirit
level.
in the Sky, Craig?
Who sang Spirit in the Sky? I've forgotten.
Music. Something
Oh, I
green,
don't know.
wasn't it? Green.
I can't remember who sang
Yeah,
it now.
do you remember that
Yeah,
one?
it was one hit wonder, wasn't it? But they play it. That's played at funerals more than pretty much any other song other than My Way. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, so where are we going? Well, we're coming to the end of the show. So we've had quite a good chat.
You've talked yourself out.
I'm going to have to go home and play some music, Jane. Let's play some music, you know. Let's turn everybody's music on. Alexa, play Spotify. There you go. You're all going to have some music on. That got you, didn't it? So thanks for joining us again, guys. Don't forget, we're keeping the show going because this studio, okay, we just had a chat with you tonight, but we do need the funds to help keep it going. So don't forget, please have a think about becoming a patron and supporting the channel. It helps keep the show on the road, helps us to be able to do these chats with you each week and the other stuff. And the more you can contribute, the more we can sort of do more of these things, and also take it to our hopes for building a spiritual centre, which is, you know, another thing about bringing a community together. I mean, that's what ultimately we want to do, is to start building a real deep spiritual community. Again, something that can be broadcast too. That's what we want to do. So we bring people together and we can even share that with you too. But if you can help support by becoming a patron, it helps this channel, it helps us to keep going with it, and it makes this possible.
Yeah, and I'm available for a few readings.
Okay, yes.
Just get that one in, because this one talks 20 to the dozen.
Yeah, well, of course, and support our service as well. Have a look at the top of the screen there. You can see psychics.co.uk. That's our website. Go and have a look. Buy a book, book a reading, book a Nadi reading now too as well. All on there. Well, some Nadis are left, but you can still get on the list.
I'm surprised you do Coffee with Craig. It's not going to be Singing with Craig next.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad, would it? Yeah, yes. I've got a
Name
terrible
that
voice.
tune.
Yeah, I think I'll get a guitar. I think I could lose more subscribers in one program than I've gained within 2 years. Anyway, we're going to say goodbye to you. Good night.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us again, folks. See you soon, eh?
Yeah.
Bye
Have
for
a
now.
nice weekend. Bye.